Let's get down to business. Day 7. Day 7, everybody. Resident Evil Marathon. Let's go. Resident Evil Degeneration 2008. This movie did not have to rely on the games, but used lore and original characters to make a new story, which honestly was forgettable. It only stays with me because it wasn't bad or conflicted with the games. It was fun and respectful to the source material. New characters were not impactful. I didn't care about them. New characters were not invented to outshine the OGs. And above all, Allison Court is Claire Redfield, and that Mercer dude is Leon. I like both people in this movie together. But if you're gonna get Allison Court, why not get Roger Craig Smith to play Chris? Why is he playing some random dude? I think that's hilarious. With Roger Craig Smith, it's a good time, but we barely see him. It's crazy. We barely see him. The biggest issue I have with Degeneration is how it sets up Leon to be the next main character of all the live factions to follow. Even though Leon is literally, or at least started out as a side character. Don't at me. You know I'm right. I have like 6 videos dedicated to talking about how we don't need Resident Evil 4 remake. It still holds up. You can put it on your 4K TV and it not look completely hideous. You know what does? Resident Evil Code Veronica. You know what else does? Every single thing before that. Like Resident Evil 0 looks better. Resident Evil 0 Remastered looks better than Resident Evil Code Veronica. Code Veronica is a better game. Leon's story in Resident Evil 4 affects no one of the main cast. Ada Wong is barely a character to begin with. She was in 2 and whatever, but you guys are making it to where she is able to become a character through Leon, not through her own volition. And that's what I hate. But I'll talk more about Ada Wong in Degeneration. The only movie and or game about Leon I want to see is Operation Javier. That small side story in Darkside Chronicles is 10 times more entertaining than Resident Evil 4 story. Degeneration story and Vendetta story all put together, plus it ties into Code Veronica, but whatever. The synopsis. A few years after Raccoon City's debacle, this movie focuses on the corporation and anti-capitalism aspect from 3 perspectives: the involved, the partially involved, and the innocent. The story starts with Claire giving her the credit she deserves while simultaneously making her Mama Bear with another pseudo-Sherry to protect, while Leon gets a solo boy story adventure and then gets to kiss the girl. Yeah, he gets to kiss the girl. Underwater. Who wants to kiss underwater? What the crap are you even doing? You're just inhaling water at this point. How are you even doing good with that soldier woman that... Don't remember her name because I don't care. As of right now, people know what happened to Raccoon City. It wasn't covered. This is a situation where it wasn't covered up. And a lot of people want accountability, but those same people who want accountability, these movies kind of are on the outer aspect of what happens. I've noticed from watching Degeneration over, and I'm in the middle of Degeneration right now, that it kind of shows the government side of what happens plus the civilian side. And I like that. I really do. I'm fine with that. But I don't like the fact that it's how these people who are civilians are like, you know what? Rather than actually doing certain things, like they do certain things, like they pretend to be zombies and whatnot, but there are extremists, and I guess that happens in real life, that they think to help people is to hurt them. Why are you going to put the zombie apocalypse all over again in this airport? And then you claim to love people and care about people and want people to be well. It just makes no sense on that end. Claire is oftentimes hindered in this movie. Literally hindered in this movie. And at one point incapacitated, which I'll always hate to see. When she doesn't have a child clinging onto her leg, she has to protect some sleazy corp-connected man. This movie looks good for the time, the score is cool, but I can't help but notice extreme similarities between Degeneration and Resident Evil 2, and a sprinkle of Resident Evil 0. Watch the end of Degeneration and tell me that that's not like Resident Evil 0. Tell me, okay? The end will make you remember the end of Resident Evil 0 with Rebecca and Billy. All that was missing was the thumbs up. Despite the obvious misogynistic pitfalls Claire finds herself in, unable to be both competent and loved, Leon, on the other hand, gets to kiss anything walking. He gets to fight crime and do this, that, and the other. And I hate Degeneration, just to let you guys know. I'm not a fan of Degeneration, and I'm going to explain why when I talk about it. Leon gets to kick butt, and it's a good movie, but he's not called like, oh, he got training we didn't see. As long as they say that he got training we didn't see, y'all are completely like complicit in this, fighting like nobody's business, like the best person ever. Whatever, like I said, you could do that, whatever. I just feel like Jill, I feel like Chris, I feel like even Claire, yes, even Claire. I believe that Claire went through way more in Resident Evil Code Veronica than Leon S. Kennedy ever did in Resident Evil 4. You didn't allow him to struggle. Y'all literally let him do whatever. He was roundhouse kicking people. He thought he could roundhouse kick a big old dude. Gave him so much confidence, you allowed him to get Las Plagas. The only reason why he got Las Plagas was because he was playing games with that big old huge dude. Y'all tripping the biggest balls, honestly. Looking at the similarities between Degeneration and Resident Evil 2 makes you wonder, why didn't they just use Resident Evil 2 as the premise? Why did we have to do this pseudo situation with pseudo William Birkin, pseudo Sherry Birkin, pseudo Chief Irons, some sleazy guy? Literally, you can make an archetype from every single character in Resident Evil 2, and you can find someone that fits that exact archetype in this movie. It's very cheesy and it's sad. It's sad. Resident Evil 1 as a movie premise might be a bit boring because it relied on us being scared and being alone. But guess what? That's no excuse. Plus, plot twists won't hit fans like they originally did, but do it. So what? Big deal. There are dozens of characters we can follow in a Resident Evil 1 movie. We've got Rebecca Chambers. We've got Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine. We can even follow Albert Wesker. We don't even have to. It could just be theatrical irony where we already know that Wesker is horrible and we just see the characters interact with him like he's not. We've got Barry Burton. We have countless people to put in a movie. Y'all are really just pushing it. Y'all are really stupid. You're just stupid. You're really dum-dums for not making a movie. Just give us what we want. Just give us what we want. We want the mansion. We want Raccoon City. Like, stop giving us the welcome to new Raccoon City. This is new and improved Raccoon City with Black Wesker. Like, no one asked for these things. No one asked for these things. I repeat, no one asked for these things. We are asking for, look at the game, get an intern to play the game. Give him a week. Give him 1 week. Make him play the game. And then tell him to write everything down and get started. I have no idea how hard this is. I don't understand how hard it is for you guys to understand this. Get started. I don't want new and improved Raccoon City with secrets that should have been blown up with the nuke bits. But I digress. The big boss looks so much like William, it's worth going down a point for unoriginality. Why not make a Jill and Claire movie? Oh, they were in a game together. So are we going based upon the games? We can't have a movie. Literally, what are you saying for real? You just don't want a woman-led thing. Honestly, you just need a man in there. You need a man in there. If you need a man in there so bad, Chris and Claire movie, huh? But you won't do that, will you? You won't. Literally any movie that doesn't involve Leon, please. I'm literally begging. Leon only has 3 games. Claire's got like 4. I don't care if you don't count Revelations. Revelations counts. Don't at me. Don't say Revelation doesn't count because I'm not going to listen. I'm like, my ears are deaf to it. I'm not going to listen to it. Revelations counts. Code Veronica counts. Resident Evil 4 should not count because it doesn't have anything to do with nobody else. Guess what the game started with? The game started with Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. Without those 2 people, everyone else would dissolve. So stop trying to push Claire down to make Leon feel better when Chris outranks them both. Chris Redfield outranks them the freak both. Jill Valentine outranks them the freak both. Anyway, so let's get down to the 10 staples. Horror. The gore is tame for an R rating. I'll say that. Music is okay. Ambiance. There's dark spaces. There's light spaces. There's an equal amount of space, but I just don't like the animation, sadly. It's not good for rewatching. You can tell. Puzzles, not applicable. Though while following Claire, she seems to get the hardest time. She doesn't struggle, but they make her sweat way more than Leon. I can see the patriarchal touch you added to this movie. I can see it everywhere. 3, backtracking. It's a movie. They go to different places. There's no real backtracking thing. Most of the stuff's destroyed. They go to another place. Whatever. 4, tyrant. Not really. Pseudo William / Roger Craig Smith just injected himself. He didn't incubate like Alexia Ashford, who I would consider to be a tyrant. Yes, she's a tyrant. Alexia Ashford is a tyrant. Don't know the definition of a tyrant? Get good, scrub. 5, different perspectives. Yes. Claire, Leon, and unimportant Leon's love interest with her brother talking about, oh, I'm going to do this, that. Like, okay. 6, zombies, virus, and BOW. They could have been a lot better. They increased the BOWs and liquors and whatnot in Darnation. They just get such big movie game boners for these liquors. Honestly, man, I love the liquors, but I'm so tired of seeing them at this point. Where are the hunters? Can we please get some hunters in here? Some hunters. Hunters are far more dangerous. The only reason why you guys, and another thing, I really don't want to spoil I'll talk about it. I can't talk about it. I cannot talk about it because it's in Darnation. It's just crazy. You forget that the liquors are blind. That's all I have to say. It's real. If you wanted a non-blind enemy that is just as dangerous, the hunters fit just right. It's literally stupid to get liquors and then make them seem like they have eyes. Their whole thing is being blind. But whatever. 7, corporation anti-capitalism. That's basically the whole premise of the movie. People are upset that people are playing games and bioterrorism is what moves people to act. So they're like, oh yeah, they use it as currency basically. Number 8, gameplay/action. Very cool, but the animation, like I said, was very stiff. Except Claire, they put a lot of effort into Claire. I really don't know why there was such a difference between Leon but they make him very stoic looking. They make him super stoic looking, and I think it's real interesting. I'll talk about it when I watch Infinite Darkness, but if you notice, this movie it's a little bit after Record City. He should still look really young, right? He looks very Scruff McGruff in this movie. However, in Infinite Darkness, he looks a lot younger than this movie. So it makes me wonder, when did that show take place? But I don't know. I'll have to look it up. 9, continuity. Yes, Terra Save from Rev. Like, it kind of basically is a sidebar. If this was a game, it would be one of the Revelation games. Except maybe not, because Leon isn't in any of them. Oh, boo-hoo. Leon isn't in any of the Revelations. Too sad. Number 10, overall story. It was a 7 out of 10, but I have to say, for unoriginality, it is bumped down to a 6 out of 10. I still think that they took far too much for Resident Evil 2 to not just make a Resident Evil 2 movie. How hard is it? Literally, I don't understand how hard it is. It's one thing to be like, well, there's different scenarios we could totally do. Code Veronica, there's only one line you can go. I'll say that. Resident Evil 3 has certain things you can do, and some people will survive and some people won't. But with Code Veronica, literally, it's just beginning, middle, end. I say middle twice because Claire and Chris. But I do believe it feels like you play longer with Claire, but the end you actually play as Chris because he saves the day. He's a good person. He's a hero. He's not a hero. He's literally neutered so that Leon will feel better. He's literally neutered. Leon is a twig. Chris, I don't care if he's taking steroids. I really don't care. Like, forget you. He has probably like 6 cocktails of virus in his bloodstream just from having sex with Jill Valentine. So I really don't understand why everyone's tripping that he's punching boulders when Leon is doing roundhouse kicks on 9'10" men. But whatever. It was a fun ride. It's not insulting to the franchise. It has Claire in it. It's the last one that has Claire in it, except Infinite Darkness, but I've heard that she's a damsel, so it doesn't matter. She's not even a damsel. She just has to work twice as hard as Leon, and it's not because she's weakling, it's because they have to make Leon look better. So if they make Claire struggle, it's struggle mania for her. Everything's happening. She's the only one that has to be in the dark. This, that, and the other. Like, watch the movie if you don't believe me, but it's a 6 out of 10. Sorry, originality will get you far. Originality would really get you far. Stop being unoriginal. And if you're going to be unoriginal, stick to the script. Just make Resident Evil 2. Just make Resident Evil 0 the movie. How hard freaking is it? It has to be extremely hard. Literally, something has to happen when you guys are about to make that movie. The devil comes out and says, look, you can't do this because by law of demonology, you can't do this or else the whole world will end. And then he was like, see ya, deuces. And then went back to the Gulf of Mexico. And that's why we see that big old huge thing. That's honestly how I believe it went. Because how on earth are we still here in 2021 after all these years and we still don't have a good enough Resident Evil movie that is based on the games? Just play the games. Play the games. Have someone else play the games for you. If you are too lazy, if you are lazy schmazy magazy, then just have some intern who you don't pay, unfortunately, straight up tell you what to do and do it, honestly. Because if no one's holding you hostage and saying you can't make these games movies. I'm done. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I enjoyed. It's entertaining. This is the only entertaining. The next one, Degeneration, the only time I'm entertained is when, ironically, Ada Wong's on the screen. And I hate Ada Wong. I really do. She's one of my least favorite characters aside from Leon. Leon is at the bottom rung, but Ada outranks him because she's better than him. Literally, without him, Resident Evil 4 would have ended. She rang the bell when he was like, where's everybody going? Bingo? Like, you didn't have enough ammo for that boy. Like, chill. Like, that was the whole crib. That was the whole crib pulled up on you. And you're talking about they went to bingo. Stupid. I'm done.